month's theme of the Small Business Growth Club, and I'm delighted we have a guest this month to delight you all with his knowledge. And welcome, Rupert from ActionCOACH.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Yes, I'm good, and thank you so much for going to share some of your insights on our monthly theme, because our monthly theme this month is all about why you should have a business coach in your business. We're nearly 2 years on for doing the theme, so we're hoping by now our members, and that especially if they've joined us when they first starting out, that their business is growing, and it's probably the right time, if not before, but it would be a good time to start looking at a business coach for your business, because I know that's the good thing to do nowadays. So Rupert, can I just start by asking you, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself first and what you do, and then we'll jump straight into the questions.
Yeah, of course. So, yes, I run ActionCOACH Oakham and Kettering with my wife, Angela. So we work with all sorts of business owners. Basically, business owners often fail to get their business running as they know it should. So we work with them to structure their business and lead it so it achieves its full potential. In a nutshell, that's what we do. Oh,
great. And so why, and I know obviously you would have an interest of working with business clients, but why should a small business, have a business coach to work with?
It varies. The reason varies quite substantially, actually. I mean, so the first thing is that you've got to think about where you are in your business. So some business owners, I mean, we've got clients who we've engaged with even before they started the business, but in the very early stages. So making sure they get the business set up correctly and ready to run. So they've thought about how the business is structured. They've thought about how they're going to go to market and all the systems and everything they need to have in place. It's not unusual that we'll talk to clients whose business has been running for a number of years and they've got it as far as they can. And it's then how do they take it to the next stage that they're trying to work out, and that's where they need the support. And then if you like, at the far end of the journey, we've also got people who are getting to retirement age. They're getting to the point where they're thinking, actually, it's time to slow down, to get out of the business. How do I get the business either in a position that I can sell it and get the maximum value for the business, alternatively, get the business to a point that it runs itself and I can step out of the business and just take a passive income. So the reasons people want to have a coach vary quite dramatically. I would say, think about why you want a coach in the first place, and think of it. Don't think of coaching. It's not like going to the doctors because something is broken. Coaching, think of it very much like sports coaching. I mean, if you look at the top sportsmen, they all have a coach, and it's not because they can't do the sport. They're absolutely brilliant at their sport. They're really motivated to do well. What they need is that outside help to get them to be even better than they are at the moment. And think of business coaching in exactly the same way.
And so when starting to choose your business coach, Rupert, what would be your top tips to understand maybe if that person's the best business coach for you?
Yeah, and again, it comes back to exactly what are you trying to achieve. So if you know what you want to do in your business is the first thing. So if it's only a particular area of your business that you think you need help with, so maybe you've got an issue with, well, let's take your case, Elizabeth. So maybe you've got an issue with maybe doing your bookkeeping. You need somebody to come in and do that. You don't need a coach to tell you that. Go to somebody who's a specialist in that area. When you're talking to a business coach, our job is to work with you as the business owner to help you develop the business. And then you've got to think about where you want to take the business and how you want to do it as well. I talk about this a lot, but there's a continuum really from consultant on the one side to coach on the other side. So if you hire a consultant, basically what you're doing is hiring somebody to come into your business, make the changes for you, do the work for you. The downside of that, of course, being that you and your management team, you don't get the skills to do that going forward. Then moving on from there, you can get a business mentor. And I was talking to one this afternoon. She particularly goes in, she works with her clients to pretty much set up exactly the same business as she's got. So basically a mentor passes on their experience of doing the same thing to somebody else. Right. And then on the far side, you've got a business coach. The coach comes in. I don't necessarily understand the business that I'm working with. My job is to work with the business owner to help them develop their business, their management, their leadership, the way they market the business. They know the technical skills that are required in their business. They know how to run their business. They know their marketplace.
I know, Rupert, you've run several businesses yourself before you did ActionCOACH, so that's helped you get the knowledge so you can help other people. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, and actually, my experience is across a number of different types of business. So historically, actually, the smallest business I've ever worked for was only 5 people, but the biggest. So I used to work for Hewlett Packard and Microsoft and Dell. So look at those numbers; those are really big organisations. But the level of management I was working at, that was the level that you needed to be at. I'm quite lucky because there's 2 of us in the business. Angela, my wife and business partner, this is her 4th startup. So she's very used to starting up businesses. She really understands small businesses. I'm much more structured in my approach. I bring, if you like, the systems and the structured approach to work that comes from working for the bigger companies. Angela's much more about the nuances of the smaller companies. So if you like, I've had to scale down and Angela's sort of scaling up at the same time.
And when you work with a business coach then, Rupert, how long, so as a business coach going to a business, for example, is there like an average amount of time you would work with that business, or is it just dependent on the problem that maybe that they need a business coach for?
Typically, we say to clients that we need to work with them for typically a year to make sure we've covered every area of the business. We work on the basis, if you think about a new accountant, when you change your accountant, you expect your new accountant to cover his charges in what he saves you in tax in that year. With a business coach should be improving your profitability more than you're paying for the business coach. So it should become an investment, not a cost to the business.
Right. Yeah.
So on that basis, but realistically to do that, we need 6 months working with the business. So we advise our clients, allow 6 months at the very least to start seeing a difference and actually to go through everything that needs to happen in your business a year. But then typically, obviously, once you sort of do the first round of fixes, you'll then start to see other areas of the business that need development. And if you want to keep growing, obviously you've got to keep looking at the business. So it's not a black and white, but realistically, you've got to allow at least 6 months, and potentially can go on for years afterwards. I mean, I not myself, but I know of other coaches who've been coaching people for 15 years or so.
And when you start working with a business coach then, and in terms of results, what would be your advice? So for example, I'm pulling out ballpark figures. I don't know if these are true or not, but say for example, right, I'm going to pay my business coach £1,000, for example. I'm not saying what period of time, but I've invested £1,000 into a business coach. Obviously, I know it's dependent on time and that, but when, as a result from a business coach, would you expect to see that investment back and more, or what would your advice be around that?
Oh, so I'd expect you to be seeing at least covering that cost within 6 months and getting your money back within the year. I think that's a realistic approach to take. I also think you've got to go into this understanding that you will have to make time. So business coaching is not just about a particular moment in time. So obviously we'll have a coaching session probably every fortnight, maybe every week, rather depending on what the business needs. We'll have a coaching session to actually sit down, look in detail at what you're doing and to agree what your actions are going forward. Yeah. You then as the business owner need to find, we say that you should be finding at least 10% of your week to actually focus on the business as opposed to in the business. So in the business is actually doing what your business is set up to do. So in your case, of course, it's doing the admin, it's answering the phones, doing the bookkeeping and everything. But you also got to allow some time for you to develop the business. So what you need to do around marketing, what you need to about structuring the business, and all the things that go into running a business, you need to allow time to do that as well. So you've got to make sure you allow time to do that sort of activity as well.
Yeah. And is there any other final advice that you feel that you could give with someone looking for a business coach, or any other things? Because I suppose there is a lot of people offering coaching services, and I know you get life coaches and things, and so is it about getting the right business coach, so not getting them mixed up with other types of coaching?
Yeah, so a couple of really good points there. So if you look at LinkedIn, There's more than 200,000 people. I think it's about 230,000 people at the moment on LinkedIn in the UK listing themselves as business coaches. Now, actually, when you start to look into those, an awful lot of them will say, you know, I'm an accountant or a project manager and a business coach. In other words, actually, if you give me money, I'll do what you want me to. So be a little bit wary of who you're talking to. I would naturally be very nervous of any coach that tries to sell you their time by the hour. What you're after is their expertise and their ability to get to the right place. The other thing I'd say is ask the coach who coaches them. Because if you've got a business coach, if they've really got faith in what they're doing, they are going to have a coach as well. So just ask those subtle questions, but you know, actually just make sure that they believe in the system that they're trying to sell you. And then also, what else are you going to get from the coaching relationship? So with ActionCOACH, we believe in education beyond the coaching session. So I will often ask my clients to go and read a book or to watch a video or to listen to something, actually go and get education outside of the coaching session. And then ActionCOACH UK, we have guest speakers coming every second Friday. We have a guest speaker. We've had some really big names here as well. So Jeffrey Gittermore, who's the king of sales, he wrote a book called the Little Red Book of Sales. We've had Andy Bounds, who wrote the Jelly Effect. He's spoken to us a couple of weeks ago. The sports fans amongst you will know who Frank Dick is. Frank Dick has worked, he's a coach, a sports coach, and he's worked with the England rugby team under Eddie Jones. He was director of coaching for UK Athletics, so very much a sports coach. But what he does in sport really applies to business coaching as well. So some really big names, but look at what else you're going to get beyond just the coaching experience. And of course, also make sure your coach is available if you have questions in between the coaching sessions, because you know, actually, if you know, you go off to do a budget in between coaching sessions, and you get stuck, you don't want to have to wait 2 weeks before you can ask the question. So you need to be able to ask those questions in more or less real time as well.
Yeah. And so, Rupert, if someone has really enjoyed listening to you talking today and wants to work with you, we are going to put your links up in the monthly theme. So your links will all be there. So people will be able to click on your website and obviously make contact with you. But how would you onboard someone as a client if they chose you as a coach? Then what would happen if someone decided, yeah, I really like what Rupert says and I want to sign up with Rupert?
Yeah, so obviously once you've made contact, first thing we need to do is have a conversation with you, because we need to make sure that what we offer is what you need. There's no point setting up an agreement if we're not going to be able to deliver what you need from your business. So fundamentally, there's usually three things I look for when I'm talking to a new client or potential new client. First is, do I think their business has got potential? Will it grow? And what potential has it got? Second question is, actually having identified that potential, will it get there quicker if I'm working with the business owner? Yeah. And then the third thing is actually, you know, are we going to have fun together? Is this going to be a good relationship? Because if I've got to spend time with you, you know, realistically, we're going to spend at least 2 hours a month talking to each other. It's probably going to be more. We're probably going to meet up for various sessions during the year as well. Actually, it's got to be a pleasant relationship, or you as the client won't want to work with me and it becomes quite unpleasant for me. That relationship will show the cracks fairly soon as well.
Yeah, and I will give a shout out to Rupert while I'm on. Rupert's given me tons of help and advice in the last year, and it's been really amazing and has helped my business to move forward. So I highly recommend Rupert, and I thank you, Rupert, for giving your time to record our theme with us this month. Rupert has kindly given us a guide to go with this theme this month, and that will be included in your email and we will put up in the members portal. So thank you so much, Rupert, for your insight, and I'm sure the members will love that. And yeah, so thank you very much for all your advice and help today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.